We've waited all year for it. I feel like we were talking about this matchup 6-9 months ago, and it has not disappointed. The highest over-under of the year, Detroit at Dallas, 54-point over and under. Are you just starting every single person in this matchup and trying to find as many slots in DFS lineups for these guys as possible?
Absolutely. I think, 54-point over-unders, they just haven't come along at all this season. It's been difficult enough to get an over-under over 47, 48 points quite often. And ultimately, this just feels like the matchup that if you're in a final and you don't have any of these players, come Sunday morning when you're looking at your team and what you've got left to play, you're going to be having to calculate, okay, well, can this player overcome X that such and such has already played? The only player that I don't feel particularly fantastic about is Tony Pollard. Detroit, they allow the fewest fantasy points to running backs. Tony Pollard has barely been doing anything over the last few weeks. He's having odd moments. And when we sit back at the end of the season, Tony Pollard's going to be somebody who has accumulated enough points to be, like a fringe running back one or whatever. But he's only had 2 top 10 finishes all year. He has not helped your teams. He's not hindered them necessarily. But I don't think that this is going to be a big game for him either. I think it's much easier to look at the passing game and see that there are so many avenues to success here. Jared Goff, he's been excellent against the blitz lately, which is something the Cowboys do like to use. They blitz at the 9th highest rate. Sam Laporta, he's coming off his lowest target share of the year at 7.7%. But I don't feel like he can't play well in this one. The Cowboys, they rank 26th in defensive DVOA against the tight end position. They haven't given up a lot of fantasy points there, but they haven't faced a huge amount of great tight ends, and I think Laporta can outplay that. The Cowboys, Dak's been at the 4th highest pass rate of over expectation over the last 5 games. They've just been working things well. They play at their best when CeeDee Lamb is playing out of the slot, and CeeDee Lamb has been cooking there all season, well, particularly since the bye week. And that's one of the weaknesses that the Lions do have against opposing slot receivers. So, yeah, I think the easy starts, the obvious starts, there's no reason why you'd sit them. Tony Pollard, I think you probably just have to play him. And then getting down to guys like Jameson Williams, we've seen his role grow over the last few weeks. His target share between weeks 1 to 14 was 7.7%. Week 15 to 16, it's been 18.6%. He's yet to really turn it into a massive game. But there's enough there that if you need a kind of dart throw wide receiver, I don't mind playing him. I think Brandon Cooks is safer than Michael Gallup to me. Michael Gallup just really hasn't got it done. But yeah, and I'd also be fine playing Jake Ferguson. It feels like you've just got to find ways to start as many people as you can, as you said.
Yeah, I think on the Jameson Williams nugget, we talked about it a few weeks ago about how I think this Detroit offense needs another spark in the playoffs. And I think that they've realized they need Jameson Williams to be a weapon rather than just relying on Laporta and Russell Brown and the running back. So I do think that Jameson Williams is going to continue to get force-fed targets and potentially options through the next couple of weeks. But if he doesn't start doing something with it a little bit more than he has done, I think that could disappear quite quickly. So for this week, as you said, I'm happy with it as a dart throw. If you're a massive underdog and absolutely desperately looking for that upside, maybe he's the kind of player that you can slot in and work there. Before we move on to our next matchup, help us with our goal. Tom and I sat down and we said we want to hit 1,500 subscribers by the end of the season. We are so close. We are so close. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, go ahead, do us a solid, click subscribe right now. We have got so much planned for the off season. Do it now and it will help you later.